This podcast is brought to you by Dental and Vision. When employees see the value, they buy value. That's why positioning Aflac's dental and vision plans isn't just smart, it's strategic. Start with what they need, better smiles, clearer vision, and finish with what they deserve, full protection with Aflac. Welcome to LA Legends, where we dive into strategies, stories, and skills that drive success in sales and leadership. I'm Michael Fisher.
And I'm Michelle Lee. Today we're joined again by Chris Ashton, Southwest Distribution Vice President. And this time we're going to focus on partnerships, building relationships within and outside of our organization to drive growth.
Yeah. So in part one, we definitely talked about sales leadership. You dove into how you built influence over me, some other people, but you also re-engaged and I think changed the direction of all of Aflac, to be honest, with brokers and how the field actually interacts with brokers and actually doing it in a practical way. So definitely want to do a deep dive on that and also touch base with you on what you're experiencing now in the new big man job in the big seat. So let's go over to Michelle.
So let's talk through building relationships, partnerships, and especially connecting with people. And obviously this is not done by accident. So how is your approach with connecting with these individuals and then building that trust over time?
First off, I didn't fix Aflac's culture. Whatever
I
you
mean,
just said.
I won't give you too much credit, but I will say that the field in most of Aflac, and this is still in a lot of the country, they looked at the broker channel as the devil. You actually helped shift the mindset for our market, at least, and then I think down the territory for a lot of people. And it's still work that you're doing. But what were some of the things that you initially did?
It starts back when I was in Pittsburgh, right? The whole approach of what we did in Pittsburgh was providing distribution for brokers, and that requires partnership. And that means we have to elevate our game from an Aflac perspective to actually deliver on that. And so when I went back to Missouri and I became a sales manager of the broker channel. So then I was running the broker channel for a big chunk of the Midwest, and seeing it from the other side, learning the Aflac broker channel side, the inner workings of Aflac Group and all of that was incredible experience. And Aflac is so well positioned to dominate the marketplace, yet we still continue to get in our own way. And we trip ourselves up a lot of times. And so what I really focused on in that role was developing partnerships with brokers, but then also with the field and being the bridge between the two. I always say I was the field whisperer, but it was just simply because I'd walked in the shoes of an associate. I was on commission. I was in the Aflac field on commission, 1099 for 22 years. So I understand it.
Yeah.
But also on the broker side. And I understand that. And so just bringing it together and realizing first off that the vast majority of people are good people. They're good human beings. They're trying. They have the best interest in mind. They're usually looking at it from their own specific perspective. And so if you can just show them the bigger picture, people want to partner because it can be mutually beneficial. And so that's what we focused on.
Yeah, I mean, you're empathetic to them, because when I say them, I even caught myself right now saying them as in like the broker team, not us. I think having empathy, like you said, of being able to understand and being, in their shoes, and you always feel people always assume the worst. Like we're immediately, we go from 1 to 10, assume the worst, and you definitely helped us, shape that. It's been an awesome partnership, actually, legacy that you left here.
It's also going to provide so much opportunity for the future.
No, it's exciting to actually be on the sidelines and see that happening live in those conversations that are happening too. When it comes to the brokers, true partnership, what does that actually look like versus what we sometimes see are transactional relationships?
So I think the first part is the approach. An actual partnership does not mean what's best for me or what's best for Aflac or what's best for my quota, right? Usually I need to meet the broker where they're at and provide a solution to the challenges they're facing, and Aflac can be that solution. But if I try to drag that broker into our world and make them learn Everwell or SIT codes or whatever we come up with, we're literally putting ourselves against the market, and it doesn't work, right? And so that's what we continually do. And all these, and I'm sure you're going to ask me about my new role. Half the conversations I'm in there, we're trying to force brokers into our world, and that doesn't
work.
It just doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. So I would say we got to go meet with people, a human being, have a conversation, develop trust, and meet them where they are.
I totally agree. I think that inside of Aflac, it was even 10 years ago that they would say like, oh yeah, I think 30% of our business was through broker, while the industry, it was 90%. We're definitely getting up there now, which is nice. I was going to ask you a little bit. So back in Pittsburgh, you guys were already doing broker. This is these 2000s, right? How is it? Yeah. So how did you guys get started there? How did you get them to start believing in you at that time?
We didn't know what we were doing, right? So we chased in large accounts. We'd get an appointment somewhere. We'd run in. They'd say, hey, everything runs through brokers. So we started having conversations with brokers. There was no guidance or training there. We just go meet people. And Brian Patton is an amazing salesperson. He and I were great together, right? And so we would go just meet them, figure out what their challenges were, and then present solutions to them. And then Aflac would be the funding mechanism that would allow us to do that. And so that requires creativity, hard work, a plan, strategy, and execution, and then really delivering some difficult situations to do. And we were able to accomplish that.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect. It wasn't smooth always, but it worked overall. And so we learned a lot. But that's what it is solution-based selling. And I can't do a solution-based selling if I don't ask the right questions or listen to the right answers, or I just wait for a pause in the conversation to tell you about my new accident policy.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Yeah. Getting out of product for sure. Yeah. Because we love that.
Think about our CBRs today, like that we're trying to drive. What is one, I think, piece of advice you can actually give them trying to enter that space? Because a lot of people try to enter that space, but fumble, lead with product, as we just mentioned. But what are some key terms for them to start using to kind of get used to that space and actually be in the forefront in front of that broker?
I think it's, why do you want to go in the space? Is it literally just to make you more commission? Then if you got commission breadth, they're not going to want to partner with you, right? So if you want to build partnerships and build a career and develop something of substance, you got to commit to it, which means you have to build an actual relationship. And so you need to do your homework. You need to see what they're experiencing, how you actually can provide value to them. And if you don't know the broker world, you can learn it because there's so many different opportunities to learn, but you got to do your homework. And if you're just winging it, don't even start it. Just go prospect, and you can absolutely build an Aflac career without brokers. You don't have to have broker. There's a lot of people throughout the territory that are doing just that. But if you're going to go with a broker, you need to do your homework and study and then meet them.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about like where the puck is going, and honestly, the puck is already there though. That like if you're working in the broker side, or if you're working in anything that's above 50 lives, I mean, you need to start getting pretty versed on broker, and your calendar has to reflect that. And I think that was one of the big things that you said to us too, which was how much time on your calendar is dedicated to actually like growing broker sales. And in the beginning, it was like 10% for me. And over time it turned to, 40, 50, 60%. Yeah. But yeah, that was helpful.
Also, what you're doing on the time period, are you just enrolling in a broker case? So you're splitting broker and now you're working with broker? That's not what we're talking about. We're cultivating new relationships, driving new business, opening new accounts with an actual agency, which requires time to be spent on the relationship. And that doesn't happen when you just pop in the door. It takes time.
Not to get too high level, because I know that we have a lot of new people. A big thing that you've also allowed people to do is let the people that are getting paid money do their jobs, like on the broker side inside of Aflac. So we have incredibly trained broker professionals. And how did you get them to start buying in and trusting you? And what are you doing now? Because you're obviously doing that from a territory perspective.
Yeah, I think so. We had a problem from an Aflac standpoint. I think it was in our culture, we had two separate sales channels, right? And that you have two distribution arms with no aligned strategy was crazy to me. So coming into LA South from the broker channel, I knew their language, I knew their world, and I spent time developing relationships with the BSPs. I mean, I think they're my customers. As a market director, I thought they were my customers. So is the field, right? So are the associates and the veterans and the DSCs. They're as our customers. And so we need to find a way to serve them and put their interest in the calculation, right? And so driving partnerships, we did a lot of that and create opportunities to get to know each other as humans, partner together, strategize. But there's high expectations in this. There's rules of the road, right? I try not to make a lot of rules, but we absolutely have guardrails. If you cross that, then
you're dead.
You can get whacked, right? There's responsibilities on both sides. And so we had to make some tough decisions, have some hard conversations. And overall, I think we've done a pretty good job, but we definitely had some bumps along the way.
Yeah, I know that you also you gathered us together a lot. I mean, that was a big thing of just happy hours, stuff like that, and then inviting our broker partners into our all coordinator meetings. And I think another big one is just knowing what their goals are and asking them. I mean, that's a refreshing thing because a lot of times our broker partners they don't have that kind of that kind of oversight in partnership. So it helps.
It does. But again, help them define success, put a plan of change, place to go get it, and then help them win. That's kind of what I do with them too. And that it is rare in the corporate leadership world, and I don't believe it should be, but it is, and so people gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize like how separated it was until I think I stepped into a market role like years ago that there was such a gap
Yeah.
because you're not in it. It doesn't go down chain until I started working with you, and I was like that connection, the putting them in front of each other in meetings to happy hours and stuff like that, or in ACMs, that you're like there should be more conversations. And I worked so well in LA South because you were leading it and
Yeah.
making sure you're connecting the dots and know who you need to go to and so forth.
Absolutely.
I wasn't like that in the past.
No.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like that in multiple markets, but we're getting there. We're getting there across territory now.
Yeah. Well, doing a little pivot. So yeah, you have a lot more customers now in your new job. So let's talk a little bit from like field influence and stuff like that. And why I think this is important even for a new person is if they're moving into leadership, they might be taking over veterans or people that have been in the business longer than you, have different perspectives, and yeah, different geographies. So right now, you're an LA guy now. For everybody in like Oklahoma and Texas, they probably look at you as an LA dude.
I was raised in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I know. But it's ruined. We ruined you. So what's been your approach and, what's your advice? What's been your experience of just leading different people with different cultures? And what are the things that you've been putting in place where you've been spending your time?
That's a good question. If you're going to go into leadership, I think you got to get to know your people. And my approach to the world, my perspective, my experience in life is not what everybody else has been, right? And so how do I know how to lead people unless I know them? And so even when I came into when I moved to LA, first thing I did was go to every single RSC, went to their office on their turf to see them and how they interact with their teams. I can't tell you how to help, or I can't advise you how to help build your business until I understand your business. And so I did the same thing as a DVP. Right. Yeah. I actually went to every single market within the first quarter. We went to Guam, we went to Hawaii. And so we were, the first, I think they said the first DVP that'd been in Guam in like 20 years or something crazy like that. But again, how do you lead people if you don't even know them, especially in multiple cultures? And coming out to LA when there's so many different cultures, you got to go meet people and just see them and learn them and then help them be the best version of themselves.
Yeah. You're almost a year in, and with that new role, new job, there also comes like the accountability side. So some of these people, including a lot of your peers now, are reporting to you. So from an accountability standpoint and just setting up those expectations of helping people hit those goals, but how are you approaching it from your seat today?
Trying to be consistent, trying to lead the way that I want to be led, right? Freedom, flexibility, trust, but yet expectations. And so we have to get the job done. And with Aflac, there's reports that make it pretty black and white, whether you hit the number or you didn't hit the number. And then there's always GMP and everything else that goes along with it that can question it. But there's it's black and white to the point of whether you're succeeding from Aflac's eyes. But I really think if we get the right person and we're doing the right things, and in the end, we're going to get to where we need to be. And so the accountability is there for certain. But I really don't micromanage. I want to understand the process. I want to see that we're putting the work in to get where we want to go. Get the job done. California will be the hotbed for promotions down the line. There's so much potential here, so many amazing talents, and there's going to be market directors coming out of LA very soon, I think.
I agree. Definitely out of LA South, for sure. I can say that.
Yes, you can. Start your week strong with the Monday morning meeting. Tune in for team accolades that celebrate success, contests that keep you motivated, and announcements that keep you ahead. Don't just start your Monday, own it with the Monday morning meeting. What's your vision as a territory as we are heading into the new year?
I think from the territory perspective, well, we got some more work to do. What we're doing is working, right? We had a focus on getting back to sales school, but we're doing that across the territory, implementing CBR across the territory. And so that's still in its infant stages. We haven't really seen the results there. Q3 was a new hire initiative where we're getting back to existing accounts and doing a better job, bringing more value for our customers. And so we've launched a lot of initiatives. I think those initiatives need to mature, right? And so we can tweak and make some adaptions or help them evolve. But I don't see us just doing anything drastic as far as new stuff. Now, there will be different comp models and different approaches to the business that corporate's going to come out. But we know if we're fundamentally sound, which just means recruiting quality talent, converting them into producers and retaining them, helping them grow, we'll always be able to win. And so into the future, I think well, first of all, I think the future is extremely bright. I think the partnership with brokers will be vital. I think we're going to sell a lot of dental and vision as that launches. I'm excited about some of the technology changes that we're hearing about, and I'm on some things. There's opportunities coming from Aflac's perspective, and it's exciting times.
As you just described that, I was just thinking about the chessboards. You're always someone that is very good at seeing the big picture and things. And
Yeah.
Michael and I first started working, of how many chessboards you have in front of you, and you're playing so many games at once because you're very good about seeing the big picture. And something like the new hire strategy being implemented in Q3, it's not a now thing, it's the next 18, 24 months from it as well. So seeing that big picture. Talk us through that kind of process you go through for that.
Stressful, but I just see where are we going, and you mentioned the puck. You want to play the puck where it is today or where it's going to be when you need to get there. And I think that you can see our business and Aflac's approach. The fundamental approach is amazing, and it has gotten us to the top of the chain in the supplemental insurance world. But are we going to be able to stay there with the business practices of the past? And I don't believe so. We've got to continue to evolve. We've got to evolve technology. And I think we just got to be strategic with that. And so I try to be strategic, right? And I try to be creative and within partnership with the market directors and in partnership with the people on my team to kind of see where we need to be in the future and then how we're going to get there. Draw the map with the destination in mind already, which requires some change and flexibility, which is where people got to trust me at times because we will just change directions pretty quick, but they seem to work out.
Were you always like that? Or has it been as you've been moving up in positions that you started realizing, okay, I got to start looking broader than what's in front of me?
I've always looked at broader than what's in front of me, but experience has taught me a lot, right? And so, I wanted to work with broker 25 years ago when we started doing it. How do we do it? We created it. We had to come up with these new things. So creativity, a lot of that's like from the mentors that I've had. Brian Patton's definitely one of them, but there's a long list of mentors that have taught me a lot of it, right? This is a continually evolving business and a continually evolving industry, and we got to be sharp. There's so much opportunity. It's definitely challenging, rewarding.
Yeah, but kind of looking forward, my question is like from leaders, future leaders, what's your, what do they need to be focused on moving into the start of 2026? What's your ask from them?
Build people, right? Aflac is a people business. We have a great product. We do great. We pay claims well, all the stuff, right? But nothing happens until we sell something. We've got to continue to build people to get the sales done. And so continue to recruit quality people, but pour into them to develop them into an actual producer, and then retain them, which isn't easy. We got to have the tough questions, tough conversations, talk people off a ledge on a regular basis, push them over the ledge sometimes, but really get it to where we need to be with people while we're learning the technology side, while we're learning all the tools and tricks that we need to have to be able to play in tomorrow's world.
Yeah. I mean, Michelle was talking about the chess pieces, and I think one of your unique abilities is also identifying people for potential roles and things like that. So as a final ask for people, you've moved people into broker roles that were DFCs, brokers into sales leadership roles, field to broker, broker to field, people to admin, people into training, into asset management. You've definitely made a lot of those types of moves. How do you identify those people that you're like, okay, that's my person? Biggest one is, how do people become the obvious choice?
That's a big question. All right, so we just did it again. Okay, so we have an opportunity to backfill a position in the territory. The traditional role for this position would be, A, B, and C, and we just jumped to X, Y, and Z, and we're going completely different and creating it. And I had to find a person selling the concept and what we're trying to do.
Yep.
So we know we have a deficiency. I went and found a person that had the skill set necessary to help us get where we want to be, and then we got to create the position around this new person. Lindsay Martin's joining our territory staff, but the point is, so Lindsay's going to join us, and she's going to help us with challenges that we have from an administrative standpoint. I think that's a big one. It's a current example. How do you do that, and how I make that choice? I find a person that I can develop trust in. And when I respect somebody, we're in the foxhole together. If I don't respect you, this is going to be a short-term relationship. And if you don't respect me, then you're not going to follow me anyways. So it's about respect, but respect our trust. And I think that's a big thing. And so you want to work well with me, jump in the foxhole. Let's go to work. Try to outwork me. You probably won't be able to, but welcome to try.
Yeah.
And let's develop trust, and then that'll grow into respect.
Definitely. Yep.
Okay. So let's talk about culture a little bit beyond the numbers that we are very good at looking at. What kind of culture do you want to leave behind in the Southwest?
Positive, fun, upbeat, right? We expect to win. We do win, but we also celebrate. We're going to have fun along the way. And that just means whether it's a, event that we have a good time with, or positive, upbeat, just talking people off a ledge and helping them get where they want to be. That is a fulfilling experience. And that's what I want to have is an inspired, fulfilled team.
You walk away our most recent hub meeting
Mhm.
with that feeling?
Yeah, that was fun. That was better than expected.
I think not alone. I think
Crazy.
everybody walked away
Yeah.
feeling the same way.
People crave the positivity. In the world today, there's so much negative. There's so much going on. And if you can be a beacon of hope, it's attractive, right? And it brings people in. And what we saw there in Dallas, we knew it was going to be there. We knew that it would be exciting. We built it up. And again, there was a whole lot of strategy went into that whole thing. But making that happen, or pulling that off the way we did in the time period was amazing. And again, that wasn't just me. That was a team of absolutely amazing people. But we got that done. And what we saw was people are just longing for leadership. They're longing for something positive. And they came out and they brought the energy. So it was fantastic. And we're also seeing the results. I mean, you look at Power Week, we're killing it. The territory is like 125% versus the second place is like 120 or 103%.
Mhm.
So on a territory level, that's a crazy difference. And so it's there because there's so much talent here. We just need to bring it out to people.
Definitely felt
Yeah.
it in Dallas.
100%. I mean, we're hoping that if we get to do it again next year, I mean,
If I have the job, we're going to.
Yeah.
We didn't have the budget this year, so we're
We
going to do it
got it
again.
recorded. Awesome.
We're going to do it.
yeah. As we're wrapping up, you were talking about there's so much negativity. So you're not a big news guy. You also, even like the podcasts and stuff that you actually do listen to, they're not just like reaffirming your own beliefs and own narratives and things like that. So like, what advice do you have for people that, they are mired into like, oh, I wake up, I watch news that pisses me off, and then I get home, watch news that pisses me off, and then also just, I don't know, just how do you approach that? Because you're really strategic on how you spend your personal time.
Well, I understand that what I put in my head develops me into the person that I am. To come, right? And so I want to control that. And so my priorities are my priorities. And the news, whatever side you're on, their priority is not my well-being, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to sell the click or sell me whatever it is, sell their agenda. And while I want to be abreast of what's happening in the world, I just don't let that drive me. And so the podcast that you're probably referring to, Truth Over Tribe, is basically, I'm not going to live my life with a tribe. And that's not as important to me as what's actually true. And so if I'm choosing to watch news in the morning and I'm not a good dad, that's a stupid choice. So turn the news off and be with my kid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Totally agree. Yeah. I feel like turning on the news, you're allowing your entire mood to be emotionally hijacked every single morning, and you're kind of playing Russian roulette with that. So I don't like that game either.
Attracting and keeping the best talent means offering more than just a paycheck. Aflac Value Added Services delivers real-life support for your team. Financial wellness through BrightDime provides employees with the real-time, holistic financial picture to help improve spending habits, create budgets, and tackle debt reduction. Employees can keep track of all financial accounts so they can set goals and track progress towards establishing financial security. Aflac Value Added Services, because supporting your team means supporting their whole well-being.
So you ready for some rapid fire, Michelle?
Yes.
All right.
I'm going to take it off and take that question right there.
Okay.
What is the book you've gifted the most?
21 Laws of Irrefutable Leadership,
Great
John
book.
Maxwell, and Love and Respect, which is a marriage book.
Love and respect.
Yep. Women need love, men need respect.
Nice. That's a good one. Okay. What is one place that you absolutely I'm trying to think of like a bar, or what's one place that is really special to you, like that you look at like, oh yeah, this is where my team in LA absolutely came together, changed, and when we started really taking off as a team. It could be an event, it could be like a place, it could be anything, a moment, a meeting.
For the LA team?
Yeah.
Should give me a heads up on that one. We spent a lot of time at Boss Cat. There's a lot of people who drink old fashions now because of Boss Cat, and shout out Dave Hernandez growing up. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was good.
And then
Still does.
what's your bar up in Monrovia?
London's.
Well,
Yeah, that
London's
was a
been
big
a long
one.
time.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So
But I
yeah,
would say where we came together was convention cruising, or the trip to Mexico.
yeah.
The LA South team was very. There's a lot of history here, combined combined markets, et cetera, and we went to the trip to Mexico. It was really a good one. And
So just wrapping up here, for those of you listening, please remember partnerships determine your progress. Align with the right people, create clarity, share vision. That's what this boss man does every single time. I appreciate it. And that's how we're all going to become legends.
Well, Chris, thanks again for joining us. This has been the LA Legends. Don't forget to subscribe, share, join us next time. Until then, keep leading with purpose.